Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to my presentation all about the Undergraduate Interfraternity Institute, or UIFI. Let me begin this presentation with a notable quote. Where there is unity, there is always victory, from Publilius Cyrus. What does this mean to you personally? When we unify as a team, we succeed. All of us sitting here today made a conscious decision to become something greater than ourselves. We decided the world had more to offer, so we took a step toward a higher degree of involvement. Being a fraternity member for the better part of a year, I am forever grateful for the gifts you guys have given me, and I feel that it's time to give back to all of you. UIFI is the Undergraduate Interfraternity Institute, as I mentioned. It is a national leadership conference in which leaders from fraternities, sororities, all over the country gather into one spot, and we discuss problems, solutions, and strategies for effective leadership. If all of us here want to have an impact on the chapter, but not just the chapter, impact on the college, or impact on society, we have to understand on a deeper level what it means to be a fraternity member. So in this presentation, we're going to discuss first the role of an individual chapter member, how the summation of individuals unify under one purpose, and then how we come together and accomplish greatness. All of the information presented here is paraphrased from the UIFI handbook. So let's start with the building block of a fraternity member. It is important for each of you to understand that you bring your own identity to this campus and to this chapter. It's important for you to understand that you bring a core set of values. Each one of you have a different core set of values. And according to the UIFI handbook, values are guiding principles, or the screen through which we perceive the world around us. Now, values aren't something we think about every day. They're a little more internal than that. It is the screen through which we perceive the world around us. In other words, I don't wake up every morning and say, today I'm going to live love, truth, and honor. No. Rather, values are so internal that I just naturally do it. For instance, an example of mine is one of my core values is the sense of belonging. I perceive the world through a value concerned with how to belong. I hate being on the outside of things. I want to feel like a contributing factor to something greater than myself. I put myself into social situations in which acceptance is possible. So as I live my day-to-day, I concern myself with how can I belong. Moving forward, now that you're looking inward, and you found your values, you've joined an organization with its own core set of values. What do they mean to you? What personally, how do these reflect onto you? And as you ask these questions, you're being ushered into your first ritual. A ritual is not just a routine we do because we have to. Rather, the meaning behind the ritual is to shape your why. Why did you join this fraternity? Why are you here? Why do we want you here? Perhaps that why hasn't come to you yet, more so you've joined this fraternity and you are gaining new experiences and allowing those experiences to define your why. Nevertheless, this ritual and this why mark a lifelong journey for you. The ritual teaches you, or sets you on this lifelong path to learn, teach, grow, overcome, seek, and define. Now recently I reached out to Fred Dobry, the risk management executive for Sigma Nu headquarters. And I asked him, what does ritual mean to you personally, and how does it affect your day-to-day conduct? And this is what he gave me. Quote, "We take an oath to live each day in alignment with the values of our organization. The Brotherhood seeks to remove debauchery, inspire, and develop the individual, but also the group. Ritual is more than a process, but a mark of faith in the Brotherhood. The organization vows to commit to your well-being through all walks of life. In return, it asks for your commitment through daily conduct." Unquote. In essence, live each day, love, truth, and honor. Be the physical representative of this organization and exemplify the foundations of the ritual. So now that you're a fraternity member and you have your values and your why, how does this influence your impact on the chapter? We drive home this core set of values because we want you to make good decisions. Decisions lie at the heart of those values. When you come to a crossroads, which choice do you make? You choose the path that further aligns with your values. That is the process of ethical decision making. According to the UIFI handbook, this is the process we go through in considering our values when making a decision. To make an ethical decision, do what you say you will do. Commit to your own values. And not every choice is going to be the right one, but it's a matter of committing to it and accepting responsibility for mistakes. Accountability is responsibility. So we have delved into the individual fraternity member, and it's my hope you reflect on what you bring to this fraternity and what decisions you will be making. Moving forward, you are part of an organization now, something bigger than yourself. Together we stand. Now let's discuss how we come together and work toward our goals. A fraternity is a team of highly skilled, highly knowledgeable individuals built on unity. But to establish unity, we need something called trust. What is trust? According to Patrick Lencioni, a business management author who is primarily concerned with team coordination and cooperation, states, quote, "You have to be vulnerable without knowing whether that vulnerability will be respected and reciprocated." So what does that mean? That means trust is a risk. It lives in the unknown. Consider the following scenario. I have a task that needs to be done. I delegate it to someone else. I'm putting my trust into this person to complete the task. I have no idea if this task is going to be complete. I don't know if this task is going to be complete the way I want it done, but that's a risk I'm willing to take. I'm putting control of the situation in someone else, and because of that, we're strengthening relationships, we're getting more done. The fact is, you can't do everything on your own, and that's something I've learned personally in this fraternity. So now that we have some intended goals, I talked about we have these tasks, we delegate it, and we come together and achieve some goals. Where do those goals come from? This is why we elect leadership in our fraternity. We need someone to instigate and model the way. We need someone to define a purpose and unify us under that one purpose. According to the UIFI handbook, leadership is what you do and knowing why you do it. Acting with purpose is essential for leadership. Positions are useless without action, and even more so if those actions have no intent. So a leader defines the purpose, and all those under him unify in that purpose. So it leads me into my next question. Why them? What about these past presidents could we look at them and say, that is my leader, that is someone I'm going to get behind? And I want you to think about that real deeply. All of you here are potential leaders. To effectively exemplify leadership according to the handbook, consider the following. Create relationships, take action, share values, enact positive changes, model the way, inspire shared vision, challenge the process, enable others to act, and encourage the heart. Think about your personal experiences where you were under someone, you had a leader you were looking up to. Which one of those statements did he implement? And why did you get behind it? All right, now that we've unified under one purpose, we're going to face trials and tribulations. So how do we do it together? How do we start enacting change? The fact is, there are two types of faulty choices we can make as a chapter. There are missteps. Now a misstep is where we face a challenge, we take a risk, we try something new, and it didn't work. But we learn from it, right? You try, you failed, you try again, you succeed. That is a misstep. But what if you try the exact same strategy for the exact same problem, and then you just fail again? That is what's called a mistake. A mistake is fatal. You try the same thing, and it's a strategy with a track record of failure. It's okay to make missteps. It's okay to try new things. But mistakes are what allow fraternities to disband. So what are some common mistakes fraternities take part in? Hazing, alcohol abuse, sexual harassment. These are fatal mistakes, and I would be damned to see if any of you partook in them. So in order for us to refrain from mistakes, we have to regulate each other. Unruly members should be asked, why are you here? This is the concept of peer governance. Me taking the time out of my day and asking each individual member here, why are you here? And getting people on a better track towards success, because we are a part of an organization now, and we need to act as such. Change is difficult, but not changing is fatal. Although mistakes will happen, it's important to learn from those mistakes, leading me into the concept of a crucible. A crucible, according to the UIFI handbook, is a moment or experience that molds us into the person we have become. So start thinking about your personal examples, and I'll give you one of mine. My first personal example is my parents' divorce. Now, crucibles can be positive or negative, but the fact is they mold you into who you are. My parents' divorce, it turned me into a self-reliant, individualized being who wouldn't look to others for help, who wouldn't trust other people, and felt I had to solve all of my problems on my own because nobody could understand what I was about, only I could. On the other hand, a future crucible of mine was joining the fraternity. It got me out of that shell of self-reliance. It got me into this state of trust, into this state of feeling like people care about me. And that's an incredible feeling to have. On a chapter level, what crucibles have we faced? What experiences have we had as a chapter and then learned from it? Consider the past chapter. The past chapter was far different than what we are now. You know what I'm talking about, right? The past chapter was on this path of joining fraternities for the wrong reasons. The fraternity was on a downward spiral. And now we're in this current state of success, this momentum of just achievement, development, taking care of each other. And it's a state to be proud of. We're showing the world what we can do. And because of this, we're able to achieve God knows what, like this, or this, this, and so on and so forth. Now that we've sorted through what bad can happen in a fraternity and how we learn from it, we can look into the good of the obstacles. We talk about our responsibilities, the things we need to fulfill and complete. To remain a productive chapter, tasks should be scheduled and categorized, leading me into the Eisenhower matrix. When we have a task, we should separate it by urgency and importance. The most urgent, the most important, complete it now. The urgent but not as important, delegate it to someone else. Important but not urgent, schedule a time to do it. And the tasks that are not important and not urgent, get rid of it, because it's a time waster. This is why we have weekly meetings, gentlemen. This is why we allow everyone to have an input and voices can be heard, and we can take care of our responsibilities and figure out what needs to be done now, what needs to be done later, so we can continue on this path of productivity. So gentlemen, today I explained to you that we have joined something bigger than ourselves. We have set aside self-interest for the betterment of our brotherhood. We unified under one purpose and one core set of values. And I want each of you to reflect and realize your part in the grand scheme of the fraternity. And now I'm sure you're all still sitting here thinking, maybe all of this is surmounting, all of this is substantial. We can't solve all of our biggest problems. But the fact is, you don't have to fix the world, but you can chip at it. The world cannot be altered by one individual force, but rather a conglomerate of forces. It adds up. This is your fraternity, and it's your job to make it great. Thank you.